The room was cold. The air smelled like metal. Bright blue lights buzzed above. John's eyes opened slowly. His head hurt. His arms and legs were tied to a cold table. He could not move. Panic hit him. "Where am I?" he whispered. A shadow moved near him. He turned his head to look. It was not human. A tall alien stood next to the table. She had silver skin, 4 arms, and large black eyes that didn't blink. She wore a tight white suit. Around her neck, a glowing collar. She looked calm, to calm John's heart raced. Tried to break free, but the straps held him tight. Then she spoke. "You are awake," she said, in perfect English. Her voice was deep and clear. "Well, what is this? Why am I here?" John asked, his voice shaking. "You are here for testing." "Your species agreed," she replied. "I didn't agree to this. You're a human test subject number 23, she said. Mjilora, I will study you." John looked down. Strange glowing machine was floating near his lower body between his legs. Small metal arms moved around, scanning him. "What is that?" he asked, fear in his eyes. "It's a bioenergy," Reader Mjilora said. "It scans your body for power. Your kind has ... potential." John's voice rose. "Why scan me there? That's not okay." Elara leaned closer. Her eyes didn't show emotion, because, she said slowly, "Your strongest energy comes from this area. We don't understand it yet, you will prove. It works." Then, with one of her lower hands, she pressed a button. The device glowed brighter. A soft hum filled the room. Something warm passed through his body. John gasped. It wasn't pain, but it wasn't normal either. Mjilora watched the screen carefully. Her top left hand tapped her wrist device. "Strange," she said. "Your energy is waking." "Waking? What does that mean?" John asked, confused. "Your DNA is changing. The others didn't do this. You are different." He stared at her, trying to understand. "Different how?" But she didn't answer. She touched another part of the machine. It moved slightly. Scanning deeper, John felt a strong pulse of heat. A loud beep echoed in the room. The machine blinked red. Energy spike detected unknown source. Mjilora stepped back, eyes wide for the first time. "This should not happen," she said quietly. John was breathing hard. "You said I'm safe." I said, "You are interesting," she replied. "Now you are ... dangerous." The door to the lab opened. 2 more aliens rushed in, wearing black armor. One had a weapon. He pointed it at John. "Is it true?" The soldier asked. "Is the human activating?" Mjilora nodded. "Yes, but not as we expected." The second soldier stepped forward. "All protocol says, terminate." "Kill him now!" John shouted. "Wait! I didn't ask for this. I don't even know what's going on." Mjilora stood between the soldier and John. She raised her hands. "No, we need more data. He may be the key." The soldier frowned. "To what?" She looked down at John, who was shaking, confused, afraid. "To everything," she whispered. The soldiers hesitated. Suddenly, the machine between John's legs began to shake. Sparks flew out. One of the metal arms exploded. Mjilora pushed. A button on her wrist. Shield dropped between John and the soldiers. "Get out," she said to the soldiers. "I'll handle this." They hesitated, but then left. Now it was just John and Mjilora again. The machine powered down. Smoke floated in the air. John's arms were still strapped, but he was sweating. The energy he felt was not just from the machine. Something inside him was alive. Mjilora walked closer, her face softer now. "You are not like the others. I tested 22 humans before you. None reacted like this." John looked at her, angry and scared.
"Oh, what did you do to me?"
"I touched between your legs," she said calmly. "Not for pleasure, for truth. That is where your kind hides its deepest energy." John didn't know what to say. Then Mjilora said something strange. "In our ancient records," she said, "there were stories of humans with energy inside, dangerous energy, lost energy. We thought it was a myth. Faster. You may be the proof we feared, or the proof we need. She leaned down, her face close. Prove it works, human. John sat up slowly. His arms were free now. Gilera had removed the straps after the explosion. He rubbed his wrists, still shaking. What did you do to me? He asked again. Gilera stood near the broken machine. Her long fingers moved. Over the controls, trying to restart the system. You were not supposed to react like this, she said. Your energy ... is unstable. John frowned. Unstable. What does that mean? Gilera turned and looked at him. Her black eyes blinked for the first time. It means something inside you is changing. Something even we don't understand. John stood up from the table. He felt dizzy. His body was warm, like something was burning under his skin. He had no wounds. He looked around. The lab was made of smooth black walls. Strange symbols floated in the air, like holograms. There were tubes filled with glowing liquids. More machines all silent now. I never agreed to be a test subject, said. Gilera replied calmly. Earth did. A treaty. Humans. Gave us permission to study volunteers. I never volunteered, he shouted. You did, she said. She touched a screen, and a recording played. John saw himself on the screen smiling, wearing a white uniform, talking to a camera. He was standing in a room back on Earth. My name is John Miller, the video John said. I volunteer to represent humanity in the Unity Exchange program. John's eyes widened. That's me. But I don't remember this. Gilera nodded. You were memory blocked. It's part of the process. It protects the test data. He stared at her. You wiped my memory? Temporarily, it was standard. Till now. John took a deep breath. He was angry, but also confused. What are you really testing? Gilera walked to another screen. She opened a file with alien diagrams and human body scans. You, she said simply, your body, your DNA, your energy points. Energy points. She pointed between his legs. There, that is where you're strongest. Power hides. Not in your muscles, not in your mind, but there. John laughed a little, but it wasn't funny. You're telling me my ... private parts have power? Gilera looked serious. More than you know. Human reproduction is not just physical. It carries something else. Something ancient. John sat back on the edge of the table. Said I'm different? From the other test subjects? She nodded. The others were normal. You are not. She touched a button. A list of 22 files appeared on the screen. Names, photos, results. All marked failed, normal, no reaction. Then at the bottom, number D. John Miller, reaction. Active, unstable, unknown potential. Why me? He asked. Gilera didn't answer at first. She opened a secret file. It was locked. She used her handprint to open it. It showed an old alien report. The text was shaky, old style. There was a picture of a human from thousands of years ago, a warrior, glowing symbols on his body. We met humans before, she said, a long time ago, but history erased it. What happened to them? John asked. We don't know. They vanished or were destroyed. Gilera walked closer. We believe your kind once had great power. Energy inside your blood, it was lost, but now it is returning. John stared at her. Ah, and you think I have that power? Yes. That's why the machine reacted. That's why it broke. John felt the warmth again, deep in his stomach, like fire. But it didn't hurt. It felt alive. Gilera said quietly, You may be the first awakened human in thousands of years. Then a red light blinked on the wall. A voice echoed through the room in an alien language. Gilera turned pale. They know who? John asked. The council. They saw the energy spike. They will come, and they will kill. You, John stood. Then we run. Gilera looked surprised. You would run with me? You saved me, he said. You want the truth? I do too. She walked to the back wall and pressed a hidden panel. A door opened, a dark tunnel behind it. Then come, she said. We have very little time. Followed her into the shadows, leaving the broken lab behind. Behind them, the lab lights turned red. Alien guards were already on the way. The tunnel was long and dark. The walls were made of black stone, glowing faintly with green lights. John followed close behind Jalera. He didn't know where they were going, but anywhere was better than that lab. Where does this tunnel go? He asked. Old service tunnels, she said. Not used for hundreds of years. The council forgot about them. John looked back. The door behind them had closed. He could still hear the alarm echoing through the walls. Why do they want to kill me? He asked. Gilera kept walking. Because you're not just a test subject anymore. You are a threat. To what? To everything they believe. They reached a small metal door. Gilera pressed her palm against it. It opened with a hiss. Inside was a small chamber with strange machines and floating screens, a hidden lab. She closed the door behind them and locked it. We're safe, for now. John sat down. His body was hot again. That strange energy, like a storm, was still inside him, but it didn't hurt. It made him feel strong. Awake. Gilera walked to one of the machines and inserted a crystal chip. Data from the broken scanner appeared on the screen. She stared at it, eyes wide. This cannot be, she whispered. What is it? John asked, standing up. She pointed to the screen. This is your energy reading. No human has ever had numbers like this, not even close. What do the numbers mean? It means your body is not just reacting, it's transforming. Your cells are changing, evolving. John stepped closer. Into what? Gilera hesitated. We don't know. The data doesn't match anything we've seen before. Even our most powerful species don't show this kind of energy. She pulled up a graph. There were 23 lines. 22 of them were flat. Only one his was shooting straight up. I think this is why the machine exploded, she said. It couldn't handle your output. John touched his chest. Why me? I didn't do anything. You carry something ancient, Gilera said. Maybe a hidden gene, maybe something more. John sat down again, thinking hard. Could this be the reason humans were brought into the program? Not for peace, but for control? Gila nodded slowly. Maybe, or maybe someone wanted to wake up your kind again, and you were the key. Just then the screens blinked red. A signal was coming through. Gilera opened it. It was a video from the main lab. An alien scientist stood in front of the council. He's gone, the scientist said. The human escaped with Gilera, the lead council member. An old alien with golden skin looked angry. She's risking everything. If he activates fully, we cannot stop him. Another council member asked, should we alert the other planets? No, said the leader. We must end this quietly. Track them. Terminate both. The screen went dark. John looked at Gilera. They're going to kill you too. Shh. Turned to him. Yes, I disobeyed direct orders. I don't care. The truth is more important. John clenched his fists. Then we show them the truth. Gilera gave a soft smile. You sound ready. I'm not, he said honestly. But I don't have a choice. She nodded. There's something else you need to see. She walked to a wall panel and opened a hidden compartment. Inside was an old scroll, not digital, not machine-made. It was written by hand, thousands of years ago. This was found on a lost world, she said. It tells of a time when humans had power, real power, and ruled parts of the galaxy, until they were betrayed. John read the symbols. Somehow he understood parts of it. They sealed their energy. Until the time was right, he'd read aloud, when one human's body would unlock it again. Gilera looked at him. I think you're that human. John stared at the scroll, then back at her. Why now? He asked. Gilera said quietly, because the galaxy is changing. Old threats are returning, and someone, or something, wants humans to rise again. Suddenly, a loud banging came from the door. Soldiers had found them. We have to move, Gilera said. John stood, his body glowing faintly now. His hands sparked with small flashes of light. Gillara stared at him. "You're changing faster than I thought." John looked at the door. His fear was gone now. "Let them come," he said. The door shook again. Deep metal thud echoed through. The hidden lab. "They're breaking in," John said. Gillara was already moving. She grabbed a long device from the wall, not a weapon, but a tool that glowed with blue energy. "They won't wait much longer," she said. "We need to reach the surface." John's skin was warm again. Sparks flickered around his fingers. He looked down. Faint symbols were glowing on his arms, not tattoos. They were appearing on their own. "What's happening to me?" I asked. "You're awakening," Gillara replied. "Your energy is spreading. Soon your mind will change too." Another boom hit the door. Dust fell from the ceiling. A robotic voice shouted outside. "Subject 23.
Oh.
Surrender now or face termination." John took a deep breath. "We can't fight them, can we?" "No," Gillara said. "But we don't need to fight. Just escape." She ran to the back of the lab and touched a panel. The wall split open, revealing a narrow lift. They stepped inside. As the door shut, John heard the door to the lab burst open behind them. The lift began to rise. "How many soldiers do they have?" John asked. "Hundreds," she said, "but only here. If we get outside, they can't stop us." "Why? Because this city has rules? If they attack in public, others will ask questions, and questions will expose secrets." The lift stopped. The door opened to a massive underground transit tunnel. It was quiet, a hidden route under the alien city. They began to run as they moved. Gillara spoke quickly. "We need to reach the old archive tower. It's protected. No council orders can enter it." "What's there?" John asked. "Truth. History. Proof that your kind was never weak." Suddenly, a light flashed behind them. Drones. Small flying machines with spinning red lights zoomed down the tunnel. "They've sent seekers," she shouted. "Move." John turned and raised his hand without thinking. A spark of light shot from his palm, a pulse of energy, and hit the lead drone. It exploded in the air. Gillara looked at him in shock. "You're learning fast." "I didn't even know I could do that," John said, surprised. "You couldn't before." "But now." "Your energy is reacting to danger." They ran faster. More drones came. John fired again. 1, 2, 3 flashes of energy. Each time a drone fell. Gillara led him to a door at the tunnel's end. She slammed her palm against the control pad. Come on." The door opened. They jumped through. It slammed shut behind them. Outside, they were in the lower levels of the alien city. Strange buildings stretched high above. The sky was green, filled with floating ships and glowing paths. Gillara pulled a cloak over herself. She handed John one too. "Put it on," she said. "You don't want to be seen." They moved through the city. Crowds of aliens walked everywhere, tall, short, some with wings, others with fur or glowing skin. No one paid attention to them, but above them, council drones flew silently, scanning the streets. "They're watching," John whispered. "They're always watching," Gillara said. They reached a narrow path between two tall towers. At the end was a massive stone gate with old symbols carved into it. "This is the archive?" John asked. Gillara nodded. "It's neutral ground, protected by the keepers. Even the council cannot control what's inside." They stepped through. The gate inside, the air changed. It was quiet, peaceful. A giant library stretched out before them, not of books but floating memory crystals and glowing statues. Holograms played above their heads, showing alien worlds and old battles. A tall figure walked toward them. Its face was hidden by a mask. Its robe flowed like water. "Who seeks the lost records?" the figure asked in a deep voice. Gillara bowed her head. "I am Gillara of House Veln. This is Subject 23. The figure tilted its head. "He is active." Gillara nodded. "Fully the change has begun." The figure looked at John. "Then history is waking. Danger is near." John stepped forward. "I want answers. Who I am. What's inside me. Why I was tested." The figure pointed toward a long hallway. Then come. The truth waits for you. Behind them, far in the city, alarms screamed louder. The council was searching, but John had already stepped into the one place where they could not follow. The archive was silent. John walked slowly beside Jalara and the robed keeper. Every step echoed. Floating lights lit the path. Giant statues of unknown creatures stood on both sides, watching. This place is older than the city above, Jalara said. Built before the council ever formed. John looked around. Who built it? The keeper answered, many species. Before the Great Silence? Before the betrayal of the humans? John frowned. Betrayal? They entered a large round room. In the center was a platform with a glowing table. Around it floated memory crystals spinning slowly, shining with light. The keeper pointed to the table. Touch it. Your energy will open the records. John stepped forward. His hands still glowed faintly. He placed them on the table. The lights around the room changed. The crystals spun faster. A hologram appeared above them, a galaxy map. Then a voice spoke. It was deep and ancient. Not human, not alien, something else. Long ago, humans were creators, warriors, protectors. They held the energy of life itself, but they were feared. Images filled the air, humans in silver armor, flying through space, lifting giant objects with glowing hands. Planets bowed before them. The Council of Worlds saw their power. They chose to erase it. Piece by piece, memory by memory. They buried the truth. They locked the energy deep inside human bodies, hidden, sealed, forgotten. John stared. Shocked? This really happened? Jalara nodded. Your people were not weak. They were made to forget. The voice continued. But one day, a human would awaken again. One whose blood remembers. One who carries the key. The map zoomed in on Earth. Then it showed John's face. You are that human. John took a step back. But I'm just a mechanic? I fix things. I'm nobody special. The keeper raised his head. That is what they wanted you to believe. But your energy says otherwise, Jalara added. You've already done things no human can. Survived the awakening. Used energy blasts? Read the scroll. John clenched his fists. Then what now? The council wants me dead. They want the secret buried. The keeper nodded. And they will stop at nothing. But you have a choice now. He handed John a small black crystal. It was warm, pulsing. With life, this contains the full truth. If shared with the galaxy, every world will know what was done. The council's lies will fall. John looked at the crystal. Why not share it yourself? The keeper's voice was calm. Because we are watchers. You are the spark, Jalara said. If you share this, it will start a war. John looked down. The crystal pulsed stronger in his hand. I didn't ask for this, he said quietly. No one ever does, the keeper replied. But history chose you. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang through the archive. They found the entrance, Jalara said. How? I thought this place was protected, John shouted. It is, the keeper said. But protections can fail. Council is desperate. From above, footsteps echoed. The door slammed open. Soldiers dropped from the ceiling, black armor, red lights on their helmets. Target confirmed. One of them shouted, Engage. Jalara pulled John behind a pillar. You must run. Not leaving you, he yelled, but she pushed him toward a side tunnel. This archive has hidden exits. Go. At the crystal off-world. John's heart pounded. His hands glowed again. I can fight. No, she said. You are more than a weapon. You are a message. She smiled softly. And I believe in you. Then she ran forward, drawing fire away from him. The soldiers followed her. John turned and ran into the tunnel. The walls lit up as he moved. He held the crystal tightly behind him. The archive shook. Blaster fire echoed. But he kept running. At the tunnel's end, a pod waited, small, fast, built for escape. A voice inside said, "Ready for launch?" John climbed in. The pod sealed around him. "Destination?" the pod asked. John thought for a moment. Then he spoke. "Earth." The engines fired. The pod shot into the sky, past the city, past the ships, past the council's eyes. Inside. John held the crystal. He wasn't just running, he was taking the truth home. The pod flew through space at incredible speed. John sat quietly, the black crystal still glowing in his hand. Stars blurred past the window. The earth grew larger on the screen in front of him. His mind raced. He had just escaped death. Gilera had sacrificed herself to protect him. And now he held the truth, the full history of humans, locked away for thousands of years. The pod's voice broke the silence. Landing approach. Location. Northern region. Unregistered site marked in alien records as the lock. John frowned. The lock. The pod replied, "It matches the crystal's signal. This is where the ancient data points." The pod slowed and entered Earth's atmosphere. Clouds rushed past the window. Below, a frozen mountain range appeared, white, sharp, untouched by civilization, landing in 10 seconds. The pod hovered above a snowy cliff, then slowly lowered into a narrow cave entrance. It landed with a soft crunch. John stepped out. The cold hit him hard. Wind howled across the ice. But deep inside the cave, a strange warmth pulled at him. He followed it as he walked deeper. The walls began to glow with faint symbols, the same kind that had appeared on his arms. To his presence, finally, he reached a massive stone door. It was ancient, covered in dust and ice. Carved into the center was a symbol, the same one on his chest. At the bottom of the door was a small indentation. Just the size of the crystal. John stepped forward. His breath fogged the air. He placed the black crystal into the slot. It pulsed. The door rumbled. Symbols lit up all across the surface. A deep hum filled the cave. The ground shook slightly. Then the door slowly opened. Inside was not a room, but a chamber of light. Walls made of crystal, floating objects. In the center, a giant ring spinning slowly. It looked like a gate, a portal, but not like any human technology. And in front of it, a floating platform with a message, written in perfect English. "You are the key. You are the memory. You are the awakening." John stepped closer. The platform scanned him. His body glowed brighter. The marks on his arms lit up fully now, crawling across his chest and back. The platform spoke. Energy source confirmed. Ancient signature, human. "Prime?" he gasped. "Human prime?" the voice continued. "Your blood remembers. Your DNA holds the lost command codes." The lock was never meant to hide power. It was meant to protect the next leader. John looked at the spinning gate. "Where does it go?" he asked. "Beyond, to the hidden worlds, to the place where humans once ruled, to the center of the truth." He stood there for a moment, silent. Then he whispered, "So this is what they were afraid of." Suddenly his wrist beeped. It was Gilera's signal. He pressed it. Her voice came through, weak and broken. "John, if you hear this, they caught me, but I escaped. I'm not dead. They're searching for you, but the council knows now. They know the lock is real." John's hands tightened into fists. Gilera was alive, and the council was coming. The platform spoke again. "You must choose. Activate the gate and begin the awakening. Or destroy the crystal and end it forever." John looked at the crystal. In the slot, it still glowed. Still waited, but now he understood something bigger. This wasn't about him anymore. It was about all of humanity. Every lie. Every forgotten truth. He placed his hand on the panel. "I choose to awaken." The platform lit up. The gate roared to life. Lights spun. The room vibrated. A beam of pure energy shot into the sky, past the cave, through the clouds, up into space. In the council chamber, far away, alarms blared. "The lock is active," one shouted. The human has triggered the portal. The golden-skinned leader stood up, his voice cold. Then it has begun. Send the fleets. Find him or destroy the earth. Back in the mountain cave, John stood before the portal. He didn't know what was on the other side, but he knew he had to step through. For Gilera, for the truth, for every human who had ever been lied to, he walked forward and vanished into the light. John fell through the light. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no time, no pain. Just glowing symbols spinning around him like stars. Then he hit the ground. He stood up slowly. The air felt strange, warm, thick with energy. He was no longer on Earth. Around him stretched a massive underground city, not made by humans, but by something older. Giant towers covered in alien writing, sky filled with floating stones, and everywhere ruins. But the city was not empty. 1,000 glowing eyes turned toward him. Figures stepped out of the shadows. Humanoid, but taller, more ancient. Their skin shimmered like stone, and their eyes pulsed with light. They were not machines. Not aliens. They were the ancient humans. One of them stepped forward, female with silver hair and golden markings. She spoke in a language John had never heard, but somehow he understood. We've waited for you, Kibera. John stared in shock. You're human? She nodded. The first ones, we fled into hiding when the council turned against us. Our power was sealed, our history erased. John's hands lit up again, symbols glowing bright. The woman smiled. Now it returns. The awakening has begun. John asked, what happens now? She pointed to the city. We rise, and you will lead us. Far away, in council space, chaos had begun. The energy pulse from Earth had awakened ancient technology across the galaxy. Old ships powered on. Sealed vaults opened. Hidden humans who had never known their power began to feel. Different council. Soldiers tried to stop them, but it was too late. In colony after colony, humans rose up. Some could control fire. Others moved objects with thought. Some simply remembered things they had never been taught. And they all knew one. Named John Miller. Human #23. Meanwhile, John stood before a giant war room in the underground city. Holograms showed Earth, alien worlds, and fleets moving through. Space. The silver-haired woman spoke again. The council knows you're alive. Their ships are coming. You have one chance to unite the hidden and fight back. John nodded. But how? A new voice spoke. From behind the pillar stepped Gilera, bruised, burned, but alive. John ran to her. You made it. Smiled weakly. Barely. They hunted me across systems. But the signal led me here. I knew you'd open the lock. She looked at the first ones. I didn't believe the old stories. Until now, the ancient woman said. You believed enough. To save him, that's what matters. John turned to the war table. The council has more ships, more weapons. We can't fight them head-on. The ancient human woman touched the table. A secret map appeared, showing weak points across council space. You don't need to destroy them. Just expose them. John looked confused. Expose them, Gilera explained. The council has ruled through lies, fear. If the galaxy sees the truth, the vaults, the powers, the betrayal, they will turn against them. John understood. We don't need a war. We need a revolution. Soon. A message spread across the stars. A voice, face. John Miller speaking from the ancient city. I am human number 23. You were told we were weak, that we were new, that we were nothing. But the truth is simple. We were made to sleep. And now we are waking up. Join us, not for war, but for truth. The message reached every world, human and alien, and many answered. The council panicked. Their control slipped. Protests began. Soldiers refused orders. Records were leaked. The High Leader ordered a strike on Earth. Burn the planet, he said. End the uprising before it spreads. But when their fleet arrived, They were met by ancient ships, dark silver, glowing with forgotten power, controlled by awakened humans, the first ones, and in front of them, John Miller stood on the lead ship, arms glowing with blue energy. Gilera stood beside him. He raised his hand, and the enemy ship stopped mid-space. Not by weapons, by will. The Council fleet turned back. They had lost. Across the galaxy, statues were rebuilt. History was rewritten. The truth could no longer be buried. Humans were not weak. They were hidden. Now they were seen, and they would never be forgotten again. Peace returned slowly. The war never truly started. It didn't need to. When the Council saw ancient human ships rise from the shadows, when they saw planets cheering for John Miller, they backed down. Their lies had been exposed. Their secrets were shattered. One by one, alien worlds cut ties with the Council. New leaders rose. The galaxy was changing, and humans, they were no longer test subjects. They were no longer called primitive. They were respected, watched, and feared. John stood at the edge of a high platform inside the ancient city. The stars above were brighter now, clearer, as if the sky itself had been cleaned. He wore dark armor now, not to fight, but to represent. Symbols glowed on his arms and chest, showing his new rank. Human Prime. Gilera stood beside him. Her white lab suit was gone. She wore the flowing robe of a scholar general, part scientist, part protector. You changed everything, she said softly. John looked down at the crowd below. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds, all here to witness the birth of the new alliance. I didn't do it alone, he said. She smiled. You were the match, the spark, and they followed. You, he turned to her. What about you? You were a council scientist. You risked your life to save me. Gilera tilted her head slightly. Because you were the first human who didn't run, didn't beg, didn't break. She paused, then smiled, and also because I was curious. John chuckled. Still testing me? Always, she said. Then her expression changed. Her eyes became serious, but with warmth behind them. She stepped closer, she said when this all began. I touched you between the legs. John raised an eyebrow, hard to forget. Gilera nodded. It was meant to measure energy, to test the power center of human biology, and now, he asked. She leaned in, her voice low. Now I want to know if it still works. He laughed. That's not very scientific. She smiled. Maybe, or maybe science finally caught up to the truth. She reached into her robe and pulled out the original crystal, the one that had unlocked the lock. She placed it back in his hand. The galaxy knows what you are now, she said. But do you know? John looked at the crystal. It was quiet now, no glow, no power. It had done its job. I'm not just a test subject, not a warrior, not a leader. He looked up. I'm human, and that works just fine. Later, he stepped onto the speaking platform. Cameras floated in the air. Billions were watching all across the galaxy. He didn't shout. He didn't give a speech. He just raised his hand, glowing with that ancient human light, and spoke. We were hidden, we were tested, and now we are awake. To every human out there, no matter where you are or who you were told to be, you are not weak. You are not small. You are the fire that never died, and it's time they all remembered what it means to be human. The crowd roared. The stars seemed to pulse, and far beyond, across forgotten worlds. Ancient machines lit up again, waiting for the next human to touch them. That night, John sat on a quiet balcony alone. No guards, no soldiers, just him and the stars. Gilera joined him with 2 cups of warm liquid. She sat down, quiet for a moment. Then she said the words again, softly, without pressure. Prove it works, human. This time, she wasn't talking about energy. Not science, not tests. She was talking about something else. John smiled. I will.